blocks, always an opportunity is to use a book instead if you don't have a block. And we'll get started in just a comfortable cross-legged position. Always offer the opportunity to sit up on a blanket. You can use a beach towel as well, just to kind of have your hips sit up a little bit higher than your knees. And just kind of rock back and forth and start to settle in on our sits bones. And I think we can all say we've had a lot of tension, so let's start out by taking 2 deep tension release breaths. And as we inhale, bringing our shoulders up to our ears, and exhale, releasing our shoulders down our back. Inhale and exhale. And this morning, as we start to settle in, I thought we'd start with a little alternate nostril breathing. And alternate nostril breathing is good for really getting in a lot of clean oxygen into the lungs. It helps to create a calmness, really releases some tension, and it's also good for any respiratory issues. So if you've not done alternate breathing before, alternate nostril breathing, we're going to start with your dominant hand, and we're going to look at your thumb and your ring finger. And I'm going to demonstrate first, which I can tell you it's a little awkward to do on camera, but you're going to take your thumb and close your nostril. Take a deep breath in, closing the other nostril with your ring finger, and then opening and releasing out. Deep breath in, closing your nostril, opening the other one to release out. Inhaling in, closing the nostril, releasing the other side, exhaling out. Deep belly breath in, really filling up the lungs. Switching, exhaling out, and inhaling in. I'll go through 2 more rounds. Gently inhaling our arms overhead, finding a nice stretch, and bringing our hands to heart center, and setting your intention for your practice today. And maybe today it's just, I am well. Inhaling arms overhead, and taking our right hand to the outside of our right hip, inhaling up, and exhaling over to the right. Pulling that shoulder blade, left shoulder blade back. 2 breaths here, maybe bending slightly in that right elbow to find a nice stretch in that side body. Inhaling up, and lower the left hand outside the left hip, inhaling up and over. Inhaling hands overhead, and bringing our hands back down. Many of us are probably working remote and may not have the best ergonomical conditions. So let's everyone grab a strap and take the strap and place it shoulders width apart. We're going to inhaling up and exhale, releasing all the way down your back. You may have to widen your hands on the strap as you go behind. Inhaling up and over. Inhaling up. And really releasing the shoulders. And let's go through 2 more rounds before we start a little more movement. Inhaling up and releasing our strap. And go ahead and placing the strap to the side, taking it out of the way. And let's go ahead, if you're sitting on your blanket, moving your blanket out to the side. We're going to set up for tabletop. Fingers spread wide, pressed into the mat. Hands, shoulders width apart, noticing if your hips are directly over your knees. Inhaling up, dropping the belly to the earth for cow. Exhaling, rounding, tucking the chin, and maybe pushing back just a little for that Halloween cat. Finding a nice movement in your spine. Inhaling up exhaling, rounding, really pushing the shoulder blades away from you. Remember, cat and cow is as much about the shoulders as it is the lower spine. Inhaling up. And we'll go through one more round. You finish your round, returning to a tabletop and tucking our toes, sending our hips up and back for our first downward facing dog of the day. And maybe start to pedal those feet out. Take your dogs for a walk, bending the knees, shaking your head left to right. Just starting to find that movement, how your body is feeling today. Inhaling to plank pose, noticing where your feet and hands are. And from here, exhaling our tailbone up. Imagine where that back wall and the ceiling meet. Slight micro bend in your elbows, dropping the wrist closer to the mat. Fingers spread wide, pushing the mat away from you. And noticing if your shoulders need to be a little bit wider, drawing the shoulder blades down your back and creating that inverted V shape with your body. Taking 2 breaths here. On your next inhale, coming up high on our toes, looking to the top of the mat, and let's gently walk our feet to meet our hands. And grab opposite elbows, slight bend in the knees, ragdoll. Remembering always to release your lower back, let gravity do its job for you. And releasing our elbows. We'll roll up vertebrae by vertebrae with the crown of your head coming up last and meeting in low mountain. Noticing drawing our tailbone to the earth, all 4 corners of the feet on the mat, finding your strength here. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bringing our hands through heart center, belly button into the spine. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, squeezing those shoulder blades together. And as you lower your hands, taking our right foot back behind us, and dropping that right knee to the mat. Always an option is to double your mat or to put your blanket under your knee. And then inhaling, low crescent lunge. Dropping the shoulder blades down your back. With every inhale, finding a little more length. And with every exhale, see if you can drop that right hip point a little bit closer to the earth. 2 more breaths here. Exhaling our hands to the mat, tucking that back right toe, sending the left foot back, plank pose. Inhale to shift slightly forward, lowering to the mat. Bringing our legs together. Inhaling cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right 3-legged dog, and maybe wag that dog's tail, bending that, sending that foot over to the left, noticing where your right shoulder is, or your shoulders squared off still. Coming back, exhale, stepping our right foot forward, and taking your time to get your foot up to your hands, lowering your back left knee to the mat. Inhale, low crescent lunge. One more breath here. Exhaling our hands to the mat, tucking the left toe, taking the back foot to meet the front. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, high mountain. And from here, let's just go ahead and take steeple arms, inhaling up. Exhaling to the right, pressing into the outside of that left foot. Really finding a nice extension in the side body. Inhaling to center, exhale to the left. Rotating that right shoulder blade back, looking underneath that armpit. Inhaling up. And this time, let's go ahead and take our hands to our lower back, almost like you're putting your hands in your jean pocket. Squeezing shoulder blades together, inhaling up, and exhale, baby back bend. Pressing those hip points forward. Inhale to gently come up. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lowering, stepping our left foot back this time, dropping the left knee to the mat. Inhaling, low crescent lunge. Noticing if your pinkies are spread inside, maybe widening the stance of our shoulders a little bit to drop the shoulder blades down our back. Exhale, lowering our hands to the mat, tucking the left toes, sending the right foot back, plank pose. Inhale, shift slightly forward. Exhale, lowering to the mat. Inhaling cobra, squeezing those shoulder blades together, elbows pointed toward the back of the room. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Inhale, left 3-legged dog, and wag that dog's tail, sending that foot over to the right, noticing if your left shoulder is popping up. Coming back to left 3-legged dog. Exhale, stepping our left foot forward, lowering our back right knee to the mat. Inhale, low crescent lunge. One more breath here. Lowering our hands to the mat, tucking our right toe, bringing it up to right foot to meet our left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Inhale, high mountain. And bringing our hands to heart center. Finding your balance here. Switch sides. Finding your low mountain. Drawing the tailbone to the earth. And taking those 3 fingers underneath your belly button. Imagine this place right here. It's one of your bandhas, your lock. Inhaling that in and up. You'll notice the chest, heart comes forward. Tailbone drops down to the earth. And finding your strength. And finding a point of focus. Something in front of you, not moving. Find your drishti. Rooting down through our left foot. And when you're ready, inhaling our right foot up, stork pose. Finding your 2 breaths here. And next exhale, we're going to step our right foot back. And we're going to set up for goddess pose. Toes pointed out to the corners of the mat. And sinking down into goddess. And let's go ahead and place our hands on our knees. And let's drop that right shoulder to your left. Looking up and behind that left shoulder then. And then go through a little flow, dropping the left to the right. Looking up. And 2 more times, right to left. Left to right. Really start to feel your shoulders open up at the same time. And 1 more. Staying in our goddess pose, taking our hands to heart center to prayer. And maybe coming up on those toes, and then everyone sink a little bit lower. Taking that breath, feeling those thighs probably shake just a little. And sink a little lower with those toes up. 2 more breaths. And gently coming up. Pointing our toes forward, maybe widening your stance a little. Inhaling to find length, and exhale, wide leg forward fold. You may want to grab your block and place it in front of you if your hands don't come to the mat. And really think about trying to get the top of our forehead all the way to the mat or your block. Pressing into the outside of your feet. Sending the tailbone up and back. Noticing if a slight micro bend in your knees. And dropping the shoulders away from your ears. Two more breaths here. Inhale gently to come up. Maybe bringing our feet a little bit closer together. Bringing our hands to our waist. And inhale to gently come up. And then we'll up our feet together and meet at the top of the mat and low mountain again. Actually, let me move my stuff out of the way. The last thing I need to do is kick water everywhere. Finding low mountain again. And really rooting down this time through that right foot. But taking the time to find your focus. Finding your breath. And thinking to yourself, I am well. When you're ready, rooting down through the right foot, finding your drishti. Inhaling left leg up. Stork pose. Flexing that left foot. Finding strength in that standing leg. 2 more breaths here. Bringing our hands to our center. And this time exhale, stepping our left foot back and setting up for goddess pose again. And toes pointed out. Sinking down into goddess. And this time let's just take some cactus arms. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. 2 breaths here. And inhaling up to star. Remember in star pose, dropping the shoulders. Imagine that you have saran wrap, squeezing those inner thighs together, wrapping around your stomach, your chest, bringing everything in nice and tight. It's a strengthening pose. Bringing our hands to our hips. Inhaling up. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. And this time we're going to take our right hand, walk it over to our left foot and left ankle, left shin, whatever comfortable for you, or a block. And then exhale, twisting up. And twisting that left hand up toward the sky. Notice if you're pressing into the outside of your feet, looking up, finding length, dropping that right shoulder a little bit closer to the mat. 2 more breaths here. And lowering your hands, let's walk the left hand over to the right foot, right ankle, shin, block, whatever's convenient for you. And exhale, twisting up, sending that right hand up to the sky. 2 breaths here. And then lowering our hands to the center, and let's just walk both hands over to the left leg, kicking the right leg up, side lunge. Everybody knows this is my least favorite pose, but I need to do it more often. Moving over to the right, and kicking the left foot up, side lunge. And let's go through 2 more of these. Over to the left, kicking the right foot up, over to the right, kicking the left foot up. And 1 more. Walking to the left, kicking the right foot up. 2 more breaths here for this last one. And then moving over to the right, kicking that left foot up, flexing that left foot up. And then returning to center, heel toeing our feet in, toes pointed out, slightly wider than your hips, and sinking down into yogi squat. Remembering an option is to always sit on a block. You're going to imagine dropping the tailbone to the earth, that string attached to the crown of your head, lifting you up, finding length, bringing your heart forward, finding the balance in your knees, pressing in against your elbows, elbows pressing out into the knees, and finding your breaths. 3 breaths here. Maybe pressing our hands against our heart. And with every inhale, saying, I am well. And every exhale, releasing anything that no longer serves you. Dropping our hands to the mat, gently raising our hips up, always coming out of yogi squat, nice and soft. Foot, heel toe, our feet back to hips width apart. Inhaling, halfway lift. Bringing that heart forward, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, head on. Bringing our hands up. And bringing our hands to heart center. As we set up for our next series, you may want to place your blocks to the top of your mat, particularly if you like a block in triangle. So place each one maybe easier, maybe about halfway down a few steps down from your block, and grab a drink of water. All right, setting up for dropping the shoulder blades down our back, finding your center, finding your presence. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank pose. Holding your plank for 3 breaths. Inhale to shift slightly forward. Exhale, lowering everything to the mat, squeezing the shoulders in tight, really hugging those elbows in. If you're scooping through for up dog, really pressing that heart through your shoulder blades, everything off the mat except for your toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Two more breaths here. Really think about creating that inverted V shape with your body. Inhaling, right 3-legged dog. Exhale, stepping our right foot forward, setting our feet up for warrior 2. Remembering front heel to back arch alignment. Dropping that front knee so that it's over the ankle, trying to think of a 90 degree. And notice if that knee is coming a little bit forward, dropping it back toward your pinky toe. Keeping your body as if you're on a tightrope, bringing the belly in tight. And the only thing that looks over to the right is your head. Pressing into the outside of that left foot. Remembering strength comes from the back leg. Finding your breath here. We have 2 more breaths. Inhale to reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior, finding length in both side bodies. Noticing if that front knee is still trying to be at 90 degrees. 1 more breath. Warrior 2. Inhale to reach forward and side angle. Really reaching, finding that length in the side body. Inhale your arm and over, palm facing down. And then we're going to take our hands out for a little, like we're holding a beach ball, because we're all going to pray for sun and beach. And inhaling up. And exhaling to lower. We have 5 of these. Inhale up. Exhale to lower. Inhale to up. Exhale to lower. Noticing if your front knee is bent, you're probably starting to feel it a little bit. And 1 more. Inhale up. Exhale to lower. And inhale coming up. Warrior 2. Finding your strength. 2 more breaths here. You're probably feeling a little bit of burn in that right thigh. Pressing into the outside foot. See if you can put as much weight as you can on that back leg. And inhale coming up to triangle. And reach, 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 reach as much as you can to your right till you can't reach anymore. And then triangle pose. Noticing if you're stacking your shoulders, maybe can you bring that left hip forward a little bit? And are you like you're in between those 2 panes of glass? 2 more breaths here. Inhale to come up, warrior 2. Let's exhale, cartwheeling our hands to the earth, stepping our front foot back to the back, plank pose. 3 breaths in plank. Inhale to shift slightly forward, lowering to the mat. Inhaling cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Finding your breath here, as we all know we have the opposite side to do. Really pressing the mat away from you. Inhaling, left three-legged dog. Exhale, step our left foot forward. Setting up for warrior two. Remembering back arch to front heel alignment. Bending at the knee. Noticing if you can take that knee back a little bit toward the pinky. Is your body nice and tight? Hips are kind of squared off to the side so you're in alignment. And the only thing you're turning is your head. 2 more breaths here. Notice if your knees can be bent a little more. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, reverse warrior. And noticing you can have that back hand, taking that right hand over to the left hip, leaving the right hand to go down your back thigh, whatever's comfortable for you today. 1 more breath here. And warrior two. 2 breaths. And inhale to reach, side angle. Noticing that you're not dumping and pressing all of your weight into that elbow on your knee. Still very engaged in your legs. Pressing into the outside of the back foot. And taking our hands out so they're parallel to the mat. And inhaling up. Holding that beach ball. 2. Coming all the way over. 3. Can you find length as you reach toward the left? And 1 more. Inhaling up. And warrior two. 2 breaths. Inhaling that front leg, straighten your front leg. Reach, 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 reach as far as you can to the front of the front foot. And then triangle pose. Squeezing everything together. Imagining you're in between those 2 panes of glass again. Stacking our shoulders. And either looking up. 1 more breath. And coming up to warrior two. Exhale, cartwheeling our hands to the mat and stepping back to plank pose. 2 breaths here. Noticing if you have a nice flat back. Inhale, shift slightly forward, lowering to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Three breaths here. Pressing the mat away from you. Sending that tailbone up. Noticing how this one feels versus the first one today. And let's go ahead and lowering our knees to the mat. We're going to come into a tabletop pose. Fingers spread wide to find your balance. Bringing your belly button into your spine. And let's tuck our toes and just come up and just hover for a little bit. Drawing shoulder blades down our back. Looking slightly in front of you, down and in front of you. And you've got 3 more breaths here. And then let's lower our knees to the mat. Finding that tabletop again, finding your balance. And when you're ready, inhaling your right arm out, left leg behind you. Bringing the belly button into the spine. Imagine shooting energy to the front of the room and to the back of the room. Deep inhale as you reach, and exhale round, bringing the elbow to the knee like that cat, and out. 2. Remember, I promise it helps if you blow out as you exhale in. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And reach up. And dropping our right hand and our left knee to the mat. Finding your balance again in your tabletop. And setting up when you're ready. Extending our left leg behind us. Or sorry, right leg behind us, left arm in front of us. See, even online I mess up my right and my left. Slightly looking down and in front of you. Really find length between your fingers to your toes. And rounding, knee to elbow, extend. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And reaching out. And levering the left hand to the mat, right knee. And let's go ahead and swing our legs out in front of us. And we're going to set up, everybody, getting your booty out of the way, if that makes sense. And take a drink of water. And remember, 3 fingers on the belly, bringing that in and up. Shoulders down our back. Heart forward. Bringing our hands out in front of us. And it's perfectly, you can stay here for this expression of boat pose. If you'd like to bring your feet up, bringing our feet up. Or if you'd like full extension, straightening our legs out in front of us. Heart forward. Using your breath. We have 3 more here. Bringing our hands behind our heads, our fingers touching, bending at our knees. Sitting up still. Inhale. And as you exhale, taking that right elbow to the left knee. And a little boat yogi bicycle switch. 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, this is when I always say no CPR. Blow it out. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And let's go 2 more just for good measure. 11 and 12. And release everything to the mat. Arms above, big Saturday morning stretch. But we're not ready for Shavasana yet. So let's go ahead, bend our knees into our chest. Maybe cross at the ankles to just rock a little bit left and right. And then we're gonna rock and roll forward. And we'll meet back in tabletop. And tuck our toes, sending our hips up and back, downward facing dog. Two more breaths. Inhale, shift to slightly forward to plank. And let's go ahead and place our forearms on the mat and set up for a forearm plank. And then we're gonna do a little bit of a dance, keeping our back nice and flat, stepping our left foot out to the left, bringing toes together, right foot out to the right, toes together. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You're halfway there. Left, left, 8, 9, do it one more 10. And release everything to the mat. As we release everything to the mat, pressing our hip points into the mat, setting up, bringing our hands down by our sides, palms facing up, and returning so you're looking down in the center of the mat. We're going to set up for locust. We're going to go through 3 of those, a 3, a 5, and a 7 count. So really take a deep inhale, pressing the hip points into the earth, finding length between your head and your toes. And when you're ready, inhaling everything up off the mat, feet, shins, knees if you can, chest and shoulders. And always keep your gaze slightly down and in front of you to protect your neck. And lowering to the mat, taking our left cheek to the mat. 2 breaths here. Turning our gaze down to the center of the mat, setting up for our next locust. Pressing the hip points into the mat and inhaling everything up. And everybody wants to stop breathing here, so using your breaths. You have 3 more to go. And lowering into the mat. And maybe to this time taking the right cheek to the mat. Finding your 2 resting breaths. Returning to the center, looking down, and preparing for this one, who will be 7 breaths. Inhaling everything up, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Really trying to raise those feet up, strengthening that lower back. And you've got 3 more breaths here. And lowering everything to the mat. And maybe just windshield wiper our legs, bending at our knees, sending our feet left and right. Returning to center, keeping our knees bent, feet up, and bringing our hands back to meet our feet. You can stay here for bow pose, or if it's in your practice, inhaling everything up, really squeezing those inner thighs together. Trying to create as much of a U as you can with your body. 2 more breaths. And lowering to the mat. And lower everything out to the mat. We're going to start to slow down our practice a little. Teeing your arms out to the side. Bending our right leg. And then rolling over so that right foot crosses the left leg. And really feeling a release on that left shoulder. Two more breaths here. Inhaling, returning to center. Setting up with our hands, our arms out to T. Bending the left knee and rolling over to your right. Keeping that right cheek on the mat. Really pressing into that right shoulder blade. Releasing the shoulder. One more breath. Inhaling, returning to the center. Bringing our hands up. Coming up on our knees for tabletop. Inhaling, exhaling, tucking our toes, sending our hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhaling, coming up on our right foot. Exhale, stepping our right foot forward, bringing our hands on the inside of our right foot and setting up for lizard. So maybe lowering your elbows to the mat or to a block. And an option is to always drop our knee to the mat. I personally like that because I feel I have more of a stretch in my hip flexors and my hamstring, which I need. And then we're going to start to settle in. And we have 8 breaths here. Noticing where your mind is going. And can you, with every inhale, say, I am well. And every exhale, release what you no longer need. 3 more breaths. Inhale to gently come up and heel toe our right foot so it's back in front of your right hip. You may want your blocks. Bring your blocks back. And then as you rock back, straightening that right leg, flexing the foot and setting up for a half split. Noticing if you might need to move that leg a little bit over so it's closer in front of your hip again. Slight micro bend in that right knee. As you forward fold forward, imagine bringing your heart forward and looking at those toes, feeling a nice stretch in the back of your hamstring and maybe even under your knee. And adjusting your hands however you need to feel the most stretch for your body. But remember about trying to keep our heart forward. 2 more breaths here. And lowering our right foot to the mat, moving your blocks to the side. Bringing our hands up, tucking the back left toe. Sending the right foot back to meet the left. Downward facing dog. Inhaling our left leg up. Exhale, stepping our left foot forward. Setting up for lizard. On this side, bringing our hands on the inside of that left foot. Dropping our knee to the mat. And then lowering down. Again, with every inhale, noticing where that left hip is. Every exhale, lowering that right hip a little bit closer to the mat. 3 more breaths here. Inhale gently to come up. Walking that left foot so it's in front of your hip. And walking your arms back, your hands back, straightening that front. Left leg, flexing the foot. And heart forward as you forward fold over. Micro bend in the left knee. Looking at those toes, flexing the feet. And finding that nice stretch along your hamstring and also your lower back on the left side. 3 more breaths here. Noticing if you're breathing, tightening your shoulders up to your ears. And walking our hands up, tucking that back right toe, sending the left. Your last downward facing dog of the practice. Really pressing the mat away from you. Dropping our shoulders down our back. Can we get our wrist a little bit more parallel to the front of the mat, closer to the mat? Creating that inverted V shape, sending that lower back, tailbone up. And lowering our knees to the mat. Bringing our legs out in front of us. Inhaling, maybe popcorning our knees just a minute. Pressing the heels into the mat. Inhaling up and over. And exhale, forward fold. Letting your hands drop wherever they may. Maybe it's at your shins, your ankles, your feet. And think about kissing your kneecaps. 2 breaths here. you come up. Bending at our knees, using our hands to work ourselves down our thighs. Bringing our knees into our chest, slight rock left and right. And bringing our knees and our forehead together, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Squeezing everything tight, thanking yourself for being here today. And exhale, lowering everything down to the mat for your Shavasana. Letting your feet fall out to where they need to. Dropping our shoulders into the mat. Noticing if you can release the tension right in that place in between our eyebrows. Releasing our jaws. Letting the shoulders fall heavy. The quads releasing to the mat. And your ankles releasing and your feet falling out to the sides. And taking as long as you need in this Shavasana. And I guess that's the benefit of your own home practice, is that you can stay there as long as you would like. For all of us at Studio U Yoga, we wish you health and safety and security in this time. We appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in person soon in the studio. Namaste.